Now, one person that is great at doing that is our Hurricane King, as we like to call him, Bryan Norcross. And he's joining us right now to give his input on some of the latest developments. Bryan, we're now starting to see some tropical alerts spread to some of the islands near Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, all due in part to this continued south and westward movement yesterday, a little bit longer than what was initially forecast. What implications does that mean for some of those islands, but also for the mid-Atlantic coast, specifically portions of North Carolina? We've had some questions about what's the parallel to Matthew, although these two storms are very different.
Yeah, the storms are very different, and good morning, Haley, and good morning, everybody. Still, the news is all good today. Any kind of land area impacts will be edge impacts with this storm. We have very, very high confidence of that. But a couple things are going on here at the same time. One is, as you say, as it wobbles, look at the wobbles here in the track. As it wobbles a little to the left, and it has been taking a little bit on the left side of the cone as it's been moving forward, and that's put the center up in here a little bit closer to these islands, but still not significantly so and not unexpectedly so. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. But the other thing is, if you notice in here in the core, you had this very circular looking core yesterday and early today, and now it's much more disrupted. It's going through a natural internal process called an eye wall replacement cycle. It's getting a new, bigger eye wall that's spreading out the storm, and that's going to also have the effect of brushing these islands with a little more intensity than it would have if it had stayed that small core. But it never stays the small core. That's not a stable way to be for a hurricane. So this is an expected process, although it's impossible to forecast exactly when it's going to happen. There you see it close up. It's still a very round-looking circulation, which tells you that the atmosphere is still very conducive for this thing to maintain significant strength. When we look very, very close up on it, you can see what's happening. Look, here's the old eye in there. See those tall thunderstorms? Because the sun, remember, is in the east. The sun is coming from kind of Africa. And so we're really able to see the tall thunderstorms. But look what's happening is you have another band forming out here. And indeed, the hurricane hunters are finding that. They found hints of it yesterday, but now it's really underway. As they fly through it, they see two peaks of intensity flying into the center. Yesterday, you only really saw one. And what's going to happen is this inner one is going to kind of die out eventually, and this outer one is going to take over. Well, that's like the figure skaters expanding their arms, and guess what happens? The spinning slows down. So that's what we have today. So we have a Category 3 hurricane now with 125-mile-an-hour winds, but it is still more or less on track. All right, this is the radar out of Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Rican radar is about there. So this is about as close as we're ever going to get up there. There's more going on in the hurricane than we can see all the way from Puerto Rico. But you see these strong bands are still coming over the Virgin Islands, and you can make out why these bands are so significant. Because look, the same band, because the storm is moving relatively slowly away, these same bands go over the same areas over and over and over again, and they can dump a lot of rain. So you can have this flash flooding in a very local area where you happen to get the band, but then another area with a different mountain direction or different kind of drainage doesn't have the flash flooding. But this is going to be the issue all the way across Puerto Rico today, and then the DR tomorrow, and then eventually into the southern Bahamas, this feeder band following the storm. So here are the winds analyzed by the Hurricane Center. These are tropical storm force winds. And this is why Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are not under a tropical storm watch. They're just not expected to get those kinds of sustained winds. But as the system comes north, we have the Turks and Caicos here under a warning, and then a watch here in the southeastern Bahamas. But you notice that the system is a little farther away from the rest of the Bahamas. So we'll see. They'll still know there's a storm out there, especially in the water. And, of course, the Bahamas are all about the water in the currents and in the surf at the beaches. But it looks like with the system pulling away, but the system growing in size, they'll be just on the fringe of it there in the Bahamas. All right, there's the way the wind probabilities look. And if you notice here, this is where there's high probabilities up here. The tropical storm force winds. It's a hurricane after all. But notice in the Turks and Caicos here, these are the Caicos up in here. They're up in the yellows. So they're up in the 30-40% range of getting tropical storm force winds, where the Bahamas are in a lower range. So they have the possibility, and that's what a watch means, possibility of those winds over 40 miles an hour. Okay, let's get up to how this is going to affect the U.S. and how it's going to affect Bermuda. If anything, the news is better today because all the models really are concentrating on almost directly in the center of the 600 miles or so between Cape Hatteras and Bermuda. So the worst of the weather is going to be out over the ocean, but of course a lot of energy in the ocean. The expectation is that this disruption that's going on in the system is going to sort itself out. That larger eye wall will dominate. It will start to shrink, and we'll still have some intensification going on over this extremely warm water, unusually warm, as a matter of fact, this year, east of the Bahamas. And then moving north, we start to get those upper level winds coming in like this, and that'll start to weaken it, but also spread the system out. Systems spread out as they head north. So that's just going to put a lot more energy in the water. The bigger the system, the more energy goes in the ocean. So there's the cone. You look at it right down the chute. I mean, it could not be better for humans living on land, the way this thing is working out, even though it will be quite large and we'll know about it. How confident are we in that? Well, take a look. All these little L's here, they represent between the European model and the American model where it could be with more or less equal confidence. But what we do is we look for the grouping. Where is the consensus? And you notice the consensus is right there in the cone. The X's there, one is the Google AI model, and this is the European AI model, and we track them this year. We're trying to understand how well they're doing, and they're doing quite well, actually. All right, let's put this into motion here and go forward in time. The time is up here in the upper left. So there we are Wednesday evening, Thursday morning. Notice by far the consensus of all this is right in the cone. A couple of stragglers over here. We discount those. There are always ones that are just unlikely. Not impossible, but the odds are down in the noise. So the high consensus is this is going to go right down the cone and then move on offshore, and it'll be gone by the end of the week. It looks like it'll stay well south of Atlantic Canada. Okay, and then here's the effect. This is what we're going to experience in the U.S., in Bermuda, and the Bahamas. We're going to experience this tremendous amount of energy being put in the water. Now, we're using the wave heights here. These wave heights are not the waves that crash on the beaches. These are the waves out in the water. So the more energy you put in the water, the higher the waves you get out there. The cruise ships have to maneuver around, and we've all seen ships, video of ships going up and down on waves. That's those kinds of waves. And look here, this core here of the storm producing waves up in the 30-foot range. So these are big waves, and that energy is radiating out through the water. So looking at the time up here in the upper left, Tuesday morning, the energy is coming along the Bahamas, the North Florida, and up along the southeast coast, just getting there in terms of the southeast coast Tuesday morning. But noticeably, you'll notice it in very strong rip currents. If you stand in the surf, you'll feel that energy from the hurricane. And of course, if you get caught in it, that's really bad, and boating can be a problem. All right, here we go forward in time now. So watch Wednesday morning. Notice it moves north. Now we have the maximum energy along the southeast coast, and it's starting to move up here into the mid-Atlantic, up into the Tidewater and the Potomac and so forth. And then moving north on Thursday, I think this is going to be the peak from southern New England on down to Cape Hatteras, including Long Island, the Jersey Shore, the Delmarva, Ocean City, Rehoboth, and so forth, when it's going to be most dangerous there. Also into Long Island Sound, and you'll notice it all along there, beach erosion, high waves, large waves, and incredibly strong currents, and then it moves out. Now, in Cape Hatteras, I want to mention Cape Hatteras and down in the mid-Atlantic, down in here, might get those fringe effects. It just depends exactly where in the cone the storm is, but nobody is expected to get any kind of direct hit here. But just be aware of that all of the weather, the bad weather, isn't going to be necessarily offshore, but nothing of concern. It doesn't look like, from a weather standpoint, the biggest concern is going to be what happens in the ocean. And the good news is that all this should be over by late Friday, and the weekend looks good, although you will notice still some motion in the water, I think, over the weekend, but the danger should be significantly diminished by that time. So folks that have a late August weekend planned at the beach should be fine based on what we know right now. Guys?
Now, Bryan, a quick question for you. Erin, we haven't seen this powerful of a hurricane in August, and I think it was, 2007 was the last time we had this. Do you think that it's a sign of potentially the strength of hurricanes yet to come throughout the season, the amount of just available storm energy, especially with the systems that get closer to the United States?
Well, the water close to the United States this year is very warm there, east of the Bahamas, off the southeast coast. It is not so warm out in the Atlantic, and that's why Erin took time to get going. So, yes, in the sense, if we get a storm tracking over that warm water, it's going to have that extra energy just as a starting point to add to whatever intrinsic intensity it would have. So I think that's fair to say. I mean, but on balance, if you look at the overall ocean, it's not like it was last year or the year before. So we're not going to, in total, add as much energy as we would have earlier. So Erin would have developed probably faster if it hadn't been cooler in the Atlantic, in the eastern part of the Atlantic.
Interesting take, Bryan. Thanks so much. As always, we appreciate you getting up early with us on your Sunday morning. We'll be checking back in with you the rest of this week.
Right.